Melasma is the pigmentation condition that beats every standard protocol. Your client uses the most expensive brightening serum. The pigmentation fades for a few months and then comes back darker. She gets laser treatment and the pigment comes back in weeks. She uses hydroquinone and the same pattern fades temporarily but then returns and continues. This is because you're treating the symptom, not the driver. Melasma isn't a pigmentation problem. It's pigmentation driven by hormonal problems that shows up as pigmentation. Until you understand that difference, you're going to chase your tail with melasma clients. In today's video, we're talking about what actually drives melasma and how to reframe it from cure to management. What makes melasma fundamentally different from other hyperpigmentation is that with regular pigmentation, you address the trigger. The barrier heals and the pigmentation fades naturally. The results can be sustained very well unless a new trigger is introduced. With melasma, however, you address the trigger, the barrier heals, pigmentation fades, and then 3 or 4 months later, it's back. And what is the difference in this case? Well, it's because the driver is the actual difference. Because melasma is driven by hormones, it is more complex and trickier than any other form of hyperpigmentation where the triggers can be controlled. A driver like hormones is much harder, and it also doesn't sit in our scope of practice necessarily. So, pregnancy, birth control pills, hormone replacement therapy, stress, which causes a cortisol elevation, these are the melasma drivers, not just sun exposure, which is much easier to control. The critical problem is that you can't permanently cure a hormonally driven condition with topical treatment. You can manage it, you can fade it, but the hormonal driver is still there, and anytime that elevates, so does the pigmentation, and so it will return. Let me explain what's happening hormonally. Estrogen and progesterone influence melanocyte activity. When hormone levels shift, the melanin production shifts with it. The pituitary MSH cascade is sensitive to hormonal changes. In pregnancy, elevated estrogen triggers the pituitary upregulation of the POMC production. MSH increases, melasma appears, which is often called cloasma or mask of pregnancy. With birth control, synthetic hormones can mimic estrogen's effect. POMC production increases, and melasma can develop or worsen. Our friend menopause causes fluctuating hormones and unstable POMC and MSH signaling. Melasma can appear as a result or shift. Stress, such as cortisol elevation, will have an effect on pituitary function, and that can trigger or worsen melasma. With sun exposure, UV is a trigger but not the root cause in melasma, but it can accelerate the production of the pigmentation. Now, this is crucial because in melasma, UV is a trigger, but the hormones are the driver. In regular solar lentigines, UV exposure is the cause. The different root causes require different approaches. Standard pigmentation treatments fail on melasma because they're designed for non-hormonal pigmentation, and the use of laser creates heat, and heat can actually trigger melasma flare-ups and rebound darkening in hormonally sensitive skin. Hydroquinone can fade the melasma temporarily while hormones are stable. Aggressive peels cause irritation that can actually worsen melasma in hormonally susceptible skin. These treatments can work on other pigmentation, although would not be our choice in a corneotherapeutic approach to start with. But putting that aside for a moment, they fail on melasma because they ignore the hormonal driver. You're treating the cascade, not the driver that activated it to begin with. So here is the mindset shift that changes everything. We have to stop thinking, how do I cure this? And start thinking, how do I manage this for my client? Melasma is manageable. You can fade it significantly. You can keep it faded, but you cannot permanently eliminate it because the hormonal driver is still there. My own skin is a testament of melasma that is managed even over long periods of time. Now, this management is similar to other chronic conditions. You manage them, you don't cure them. And our job is to help our clients understand that this is long-term management, not a one-time fix. That completely changes the business model for you altogether. Instead of use this serum and pigmentation disappears, the language should be that melasma is hormonally driven, will fade it and maintain the fade with ongoing protocols. From a client perspective, this is actually really good news, and that's because the expectations shift. She's not expecting a cure or a miracle, she's expecting management, and management means that you have an ongoing relationship. She comes back monthly or quarterly, you maintain the results, the client is happy with the outcomes while understanding her part in the management of her skin, and that builds a trusting relationship. It's sustainable business, and from a clinical perspective, you've also just been very honest with your clients. Melasma will likely return if hormones shift, but if you have a protocol to fade it again, the client will be back for your support when that happens. Now, here's the framework that I typically follow, and phase 1 is barrier repair, foundational, which is the same as all other pigmentation. Phase 2 is hormonal awareness. Is she on birth control? When did the melasma start? Is she pregnant or recently postpartum? Melasma often fades postpartum, but is she in perimenopause? Hormonal fluctuations can trigger it, and so can certain medications. Is her stress high? Cortisol can worsen it. Phase 3 is aggressive sun protection. It's a non-negotiable in any pigment skin conditions. UV is a trigger. Even if hormones are stable, sun exposure will flare melasma. An SPF of 30 plus is important. Reapply, protective clothing is important, and good quality sunglasses. Your client has permission to shop for those. In phase 4, maintenance protocols is in place. Barrier support is ongoing, and periodic treatments to fade new pigment formation is important. This is management, not cure. Here is why it matters for your practice. Melasma clients are the clients who stay with you because melasma is a long-term game. They're not one-time treatments, they're ongoing relationships. Building long-term relationships is premium positioning, and it builds sustainable business. When we understand melasma as a hormonal condition and we shift from failed treatment to successful management, that's when the difference between frustrated clients and happy, loyal clients come to the surface, and those loyal clients are the ones who refer their family and friends. Thank you so much for watching. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means the absolute world to me. I look forward to seeing you again next week.